So, because I had this injury, I feel like sometimes I'm kind of milking the injury because I talk about it a little bit more than I usually do. So because of my injury, I have to soak my feet in hot water. Anyone had to do that for anything, like a whirlpool when you're in high school or something? So I'm sitting there, my feet are in the hot water, and I'm soaking my feet. And I don't know, 5-10 minutes I've got to do this for. So I'm thinking about things, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll just say the Serenity prayer. So I start with, what is that? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. What else? And what else? Right. So I get stuck on that first phrase. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And my mind kind of works in reverse when I'm trying to think about things. So I was thinking, the things I cannot change. I'm sitting here soaking my feet. Well, what do I want to change? See how that's a reverse? What do I want to change? So I started thinking, well, I'm older than some of you. So I'm thinking of all my past mistakes. I would like to change my past mistakes. But then I started thinking about people that I love. So I'd like to change people who have learning disabilities so they don't have to struggle. And I'd like to change people who have health problems. I'd like to, I don't really want surgery. I'd like to change my other foot so it doesn't have to have surgery. Don't want to do that again. And then I started thinking about bigger things. Like, who here would not want to change 9/11? That stunk. I would really like to change that. And how about, kids with cancer. How about what just happened 2 days ago in Virginia Beach? I would really like to change that. So as I think bigger and bigger, not just for myself, I'm like saying again, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And I have to keep saying that. And I'm like, thank you for, I have to soak my feet, because I'm like, like this usually. I'm moving a mile a minute, except for the last 8 weeks. So I was thinking, we all have probably a long list. And sometimes we just look at the things that happened in our past and say, boy, I'd really like to change that. But some things, like Kristen was talking about the steps, some things we'd like to change now. We'd like to, I don't know, I wrote a couple things on the list. I'd like to leave this room and never do those things again, or never think that way again. Did you write 2 things on your list? Are those things you can change?
Yeah.
I got to look at my list again. Well, I don't really want to change those 2. That's not in my speech. When I wrote them down, I meant them, and now I'm looking at them. Nope, I don't want to change either. And I got to go back to the God. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. And what's the rest of it? Things I can, and then the wisdom to know the difference. All right. So let me flip my page. We're going to do an activity. So I want you to grab that paper that has the 2 things you wrote on it. And if you didn't write anything, that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure God knows. And I want you to look at the empty seat next to you. Really look at it. Really. Just for a second. I don't have an empty seat. I'm going to look this way. Something's empty. And you can see that it's empty, right? So I invite you to start mentally, in your mind, piling up the things that you would really like changed. And remember how I was soaking my feet and I thought all my past mistakes, and then I thought people I love, and then I thought bigger and bigger. So go ahead. Pile up all those things you'd like to change. And I'm going to give you a minute to do that.
Good at you.
How's the pile? growing. Anyway, you can put Julie Drew on. Doesn't matter. Alrighty. Now I invite you to close your eyes. So all that stuff piled up on the chair. And I really hope that it's a big pile. You can keep piling if you think. Things from the past, things right now, things about you, things about other people, things about the weather, things about your town, things about your country. Now I want you to think about that. And then I want you to bring your mind into yourself and think about yourself in your chair. So again, think about the other chair, all those things that you'd like changed or pile up there. And now think about yourself. So there's a separation there. Yourself in one chair and all those things you'd like changed piled up in the other. And as you breathe in your mind, say, God grant me. And it's as if the words start at your feet and then travel up your body. So, God grant me. And then as you exhale, say serenity and just let it pop out of your head and flow over you. So every time you breathe in, you say, God grant me, and let those words go up your body. And then breathe out and say serenity. And just keep doing it. God grant me, goes up your body, serenity. God grant me serenity. God grant me serenity. Now in your mind, look at all those things piled up on your chair you'd like to change. And say, as you inhale, God grant me the serenity. And then as you exhale, to accept the things I cannot change. Do it again. God grant me the serenity. And as you say to accept the things, let that drift over right onto your pile. To accept all these things I cannot change. God grant me the serenity to accept all the things I cannot change. And keep doing it. And Ted, if you could turn on the music, I don't know. You can't? So go ahead and open your eyes. And you know, some really smart people wrote the Serenity Prayer, and I kind of figured it out that there's a reason why it starts that way. I think I figured it out. It's because if we take all this stuff, things that we cannot change, and we have it here, then first of all, we don't have any serenity. And second of all, there's no space for any courage to change the things I can, and we certainly can't get any wisdom to know the difference. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, all these things, and then the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So we have trained healing prayer ministers here tonight that want to pray for you for those two things. And I might need some prayers myself, because as soon as I picked up that, I said, nope, don't want to change that. I can change it, but I can't do it on my own. So they're going to come around. I think Ken's phone can do the music. They're going to come around. We're going to start some quiet music. Sometimes we put a hand on your shoulder or your head. If you don't want that, take your pen and just do a line from corner to corner, and they won't touch you. But they're going to come around and take your paper and sit in your empty seat, and they're going to pray for those things. They're going to ask the God of the universe in the name of Jesus, who through all things are possible, to grant you the serenity to accept the things you can't change and the courage to change the things you can,